Well, it's the next day and I see progress. Hey, I just got done painting the main body of the soffit. On top of the soffit, that little edge of the wall up to the top. See how nice I got it up next to the cabinets. Now, obviously I'm gonna have to cut that in, but I did that with my little paint roller. If you keep this edge right here nice and clean, no paint on it, then you can run that right up against the edge. And on that one, I ran that right on the doors. See how much wider that line is there than that one. And then on that one, I just ran it like that, carefully, right up against the scribe mold, see? And I also did that down here next to the, oh, look at that. I got just a little run right there. Maybe I should look at the bottom of that here in a minute. I just set it like that and ran it along there, and then I did the same thing up there next to the cabinets. As long as you have that edge, I always check that every once in a while to make sure there's no paint on it. You don't want to dip it into the paint too far, and now all of a sudden you got paint on there and you forget. Now you got it on the bottom side of this cabinet, and that's a no-no, because that cabinet, the bottom side of that cabinet is particle board, and you won't be getting that off anytime soon with a sponge, so to speak. And see, I actually used that initially to get my line going up against the ceiling until I forgot, dabbity nabbit, that my ceiling is flat paint. And whenever you wipe on a ceiling with metal like that, or a putty knife, and you're trying to knock something off the ceiling, you make black marks. And I forgot about that, and I hardly touched the ceiling at all. Let me see if I can get you in there. You see that line? See that line about an inch or so away from the wall on the ceiling? It's a definite line, and that's, see right there, look at that. That's from the metal of this pushing up against there. Now, if that ceiling was a semi-gloss ceiling, I'd have no problem, because with semi-gloss, it's not really going to do that. But I don't. Most of the time, I do ceilings flat. I like to do them flat, white, and I shouldn't have done that. And so all the rest of it from about there on, I just ran it up this way, and was just careful. And I could have done that over here too. I don't know what I was thinking. But anyways, and see, I used this little roller cover. It's a 6-inch roller cover, and it's designed to fit on this particular one, a 4-inch or 6-inch. And this used to be a big, huge 3/4-inch nap roller. Look how thin it is now. Look at on that side. Good grief. And that's because I ran that. I had 2 roller covers, 3/4-inch nap roller covers, and that's how they get after you use them a lot. And I did the ceilings all with a 6-inch, with these 6-inch roller covers. And see, when they get thin like that, I don't throw them away, I save them. And that came in handy because there wasn't as much nap, and it was easier for me to cut in around the edges and to be careful down in here, because there wasn't as much nap. And it was still thick enough, and I pushed it on there and got it all nice and clean. Okay, so that's what I've been working on. And you know, I'm gonna let that dry, and I'm gonna go and do something else. I just used the little hand roller right there too, and then I used that same roller in here the other day, and then I just took a throwaway paintbrush, a 2-inch throwaway paintbrush, to get all the nooks and crannies all in there. Now I'm letting that dry, so I can put the, remember, I'm going to put semi-gloss. This is eggshell finish right now. I'm going to put semi-gloss over the top of the shelves and this edge. I'm going to do that upstairs too. So when this is 100% dry, you know, that's one of the things I'm going to do. I'm going to whip out my semi-gloss double click paint. That's what this is called. The color is double click from Home Depot, and it looks nice, doesn't it? It's a gray. It's got just a tinge of, well, I don't know if you want to say blue in it or not, but when it's all said and done, when you look at the walls, they're going to look gray. They're going to look gray, and it's really going to look nice, and it's going to pop with all the nice white baseboards. And I'm going to paint these baseboards down here still. And you know, I'm just taking my time today. I got a little music playing, and the carpet guys aren't going to be here for a couple more days. But you know, I still have a few bits and pieces. You know, I gotta finish this along here, my ceiling, and my wall paint. I'll fix that today. Get some masking tape out. What else am I going to do up here? This is that other little cabinet. I got this all nicely painted. This is all eggshell finish, the double click color. And I'm going to paint the tops and the sides here with the semi-gloss paint, because I happen to have semi-gloss paint, because I painted where this washer and dryer is. I use semi-gloss white on the ceiling. I first put flat white, and then I put a coat of white semi-gloss on there, and then I used the double click semi-gloss paint on the walls, because I'm going to do that in the bathrooms too. So I thought, hey, I've got some extra semi-gloss paint, so I'll put it on here, make these more durable. Okay, so that's something I'm gonna do today. And then I've got just a few other things here. We've got in the master bedroom. See, with the paint all cut in, doesn't that look sharp? Look at that. I've got all the baseboards here nicely painted, fresh coat of paint, and the door frames. See how bright and clean looking lines it looks like when you cut in and you do things right. I've got the window stool nicely painted, and that turned out really good too. And in the closet, I decided to do a semi-gloss white ceilings, and I like to do that in closets just because it brightens the closet up a little bit, especially when you turn the light on. The light bounces off the ceiling and gets on the walls, and I got the eggshell finish on the walls too. And see, if you will remember, all these walls and ceilings were that beige color, and so of course, with me putting white semi-gloss on here, I knew the white semi-gloss would not cover in one coat, and I wasn't going to put 2 coats of semi-gloss paint up there. I had the white ceilings. These white ceilings are flat white ceiling paint that you can get already pre-mixed at Home Depot, and I knew that wasn't going to cover in one coat, so I got 2 coats of white flat ceiling paint up there. Yeah, it's like painting the condo ceilings twice. And so in the closet, I put 1 coat of white flat ceiling paint on there, and then after that dried, I put a coat of eggshell or semi-gloss white paint. But you know how when I cut in the ceilings, I just slop it out on there on the inside corners, and then I bring it down just a little bit too, because I don't really care about that when I'm running the roller and putting the paintbrush up there and all that kind of stuff, because then I cut in the walls up to the ceiling. Well, when you're cutting in an eggshell finish up to a semi-gloss ceiling, and if some of your semi-gloss paint has gotten down on top of your wall, when you cut in your walls, there's only so thick you can put the paint on as you're cutting it in, and you'll see some of the white paint peeking through. Now, I had that, and some of it is peeking through. You can see over here. Look up against here. See the white peeking through the wall paint? I can see it right there. And then if I go around this room, I can see it in certain areas. It's hard to see, but I can see it. Let's get you back here. The light's not very good up in here, but I'm gonna go ahead and go the extra mile, and I'm gonna put another coat of paint on there. I just have to be careful. It's not like I get up there and recut it in right up next to the white ceiling. I just come down just a hair. And so I'm gonna zip my paintbrush around this room because of that semi-gloss paint. Now, I had that same issue a little bit while I was cutting in these walls up to the ceiling, even though this paint was flat paint. But see, that flat paint, when I put it on, I had to cut in, because I put 2 coats, after the first coat, I cut in next from the ceiling down to the wall, okay? And I got a little bit of the white paint over on the wall, if you will remember. Then when I did the second coat, I did the same thing. So in reality, I have two coats of white paint zipped around about 1 inch to 1.5 inches down from the ceiling down. So when I cut in my new paint up to there in certain area, and you know, I cut the paint in first, and then I try to put a little bit more paint on there, and then run the paintbrush flat back and forth this way to try to get it on there a little bit thicker, and that worked out really good. But there was a couple areas where I stood back and I could see the white peeking through, not as bad as a semi-gloss ceiling, okay? And so I did a couple areas, but in all, it actually turned out really good. And see, the other ceiling that I had, a white semi-gloss ceiling, was the closet in this guest room in here, and I could see the white paint after I let the coat of wall paint dry. After I cut it in, I did it as thick as I could along the edges and stuff, and sure enough, son of a gun, when it dried, I could see white peeking through there. So I've already zipped around this one the other day, and it looks nice, a full body paint on the wall up to the ceiling, all the way around there. And I actually had to zip around this room the same way, even though this ceiling is flat. But you know, you just have to kind of check things out. Had this ceiling been an existing white ceiling, and all I was doing was putting 1 coat of white ceiling paint on here, I could have still gotten a little paint from the ceiling down to the wall, down onto the wall. But when had I cut the walls into the ceiling at that point, I wouldn't have had any white paint peeking through after I cut in. Does that make sense? Hope so. Okay, so I've got a, oh, that's right. If you were, I showed you this before, but in this closet, I forgot to cut in next to the wall right here. I cut in everywhere else, but I forgot this one section. I was so intent on trying to cut in this wall without getting it on these wires. These are coaxial cables, and somebody had fished them up from downstairs on up through into the attic and across over to somewhere else. I got a blank plate to put on there, and I've got the staples that I can put back in there that I saved. So I'm keeping the holes on the wall where the staples go, and then I'll just put that back, and it'll look good. I haven't lifted this out and cut in down next to there. I thought I did. What? Look at that. Did I miss that? I think I did miss that right there. I thought I went back in there and cut that in. Okay, see? There's another something I need to do. Cut that in, and then if I get any paint on the coaxial cable, I just wipe it off with my sponge. No biggie. So I'm gonna come in here. Look at this, and look at this here. I don't know what that is. It almost looks like paint, but then it looks like it could be, well, maybe it is paint. I don't know where that came from. Because these door frames have just been painted. I'll have to clean that off and take a look at that. And I'm gonna have the white ceiling paint out, or that semi-gloss. I'm gonna have the white semi-gloss paint out, and I'll have to touch that up. All these different things. You know, I could touch up certain things after the carpet guys get done, but of all the things that I know about, I want to get them taken care of within the next 2 days. Today and tomorrow I got. Okay, and I've got to get the white ceiling paint out because this was the semi-gloss paint, and on the wall I just kind of screwed up right in there. See, I got some of the wall paint on the ceiling. Hey, things happen. When you start cutting in ceilings and cutting in baseboards and cutting in around door frames, your eyes after a while start getting buggy. Like, okay, where's the line? You're squinting to find the line and making sure you try not to get beyond the line and stuff. And sometimes you can't see it because it might be a shadow on it. And I like to use my construction light in the room. And sometimes I'll put the light directly where I'm working, and other times it might throw a shadow on the wall. So then I'll kind of push the light off a little bit, and then I can see the lines better. But after a while, man, you got to kind of almost take a break because your eyes, from squinting and trying to find the line and stuff, it just kind of makes you tired. And so I flubbed up on that one, didn't I? I flubbed up on that one for sure. Big time. Okay, whatever. And I've got to paint this door. I've been waiting. I've been holding off on this door. I have no idea why, because it's probably going to take me 2 coats of paint to get over that. I'm just going to paint it the same color as the walls, and it'll be an eggshell finish. I'll just make it eggshell. I'm not going to paint it. I could put the first coat eggshell and then put a second coat on there with semi-gloss paint if I wanted, but I kind of want it. I don't want it to shine too much. I want it to kind of blend into the ceiling, and the ceiling, that little section of ceiling right there, is the eggshell finish. See, here's another little spot. Then you'll find different things. When you get done painting, you'll think you're all done, and then you walk around and you just find things. That's just how it goes. Looks like I could cut that in a little bit more. See how some of this white paint, when I did the baseboard, remember I got a little bit of the white paint up on top of the wall because I wasn't too concerned about trying to cut in that little thin line there. It went up a little bit, and so when I put the paint on the wall, you got to put it on thick enough, and sometimes it's difficult to do that when you're cutting in because it wants to slide off. Because again, I'm putting eggshell over semi-gloss paint from here up to there. You see that little bit right there? The white peeking through. And I didn't have too many of those spots. I did actually really good. It looks like, oh, look at that. See, I got a run right there. See, there's the bottom of it right there. I'm gonna have to fix that. And I'll probably, the different things that I see, what I should do is take some blue masking tape and just put a little piece here, a little piece there, because after a while you might think, yeah, I'll remember all those places, and I got a little place to caulk, and then all of a sudden you think, now where was that hole in the wall that I was supposed to caulk before I touched up the paint? And you'll just find different things like that, and of course after the carpet guys get done, I'll probably take a little paintbrush around and do the same thing, do a once and for all type of business. But some of these things I can hit now because the carpet's not in yet. Okay, and I've got 2 days to just piddle around, fuss around, and do some stuff up here, and then I'm just kind of jumping back and forth from upstairs to downstairs, but my main focus needs to be on the upstairs. And see, I've got to get into 3 different paints. I've got the eggshell wall color to get in. I've got the white semi-gloss paint to get in. I've got the semi-gloss paint to get into for the shelves and stuff, and I got the flat white paint to get into. So I got 4 colors. Now I forget why I need to get into the white paint. See, I'm starting to get wiggy, so I'm just gonna keep going. But I wanted to kind of show you what I was doing today and the progress. And here's the other thing. You know, when I did these shelves, I just got my craft paper out, notched it around there, put a piece down here on the floor. Then I ran a couple pieces over in here. And for the refrigerator, I can slide that back in if I want, right directly over the top of the craft paper, then pull it back out to cut this in whenever I decide to cut it in if I don't cut it in today, or I could leave the refrigerator exactly where it's at if I want. And see, I just ran the craft paper along here and down in through there. I decided to paint this because we're going to be without a stove for a few months until I get the eventually we're going to redo the countertops and put new countertops, and I'm going to be the one ripping this out, but that's going to be in 5 or 6 weeks from now because we have to order the counters, and we're having a heck of a time deciding what kind of sink to put in and that kind of thing. So, you know, we're going to be moving in here in a couple weeks, and this is just how we're going to do it. We're just going to leave this like that. So I thought I would go ahead and I'll cut this all in with a paintbrush. It won't take me that much of a time for it. And you know, this sink was a white porcelain sink, but it was an over-the-counter type, and we're going to install new quartz countertops, and we're going to actually have the sink installed from underneath. But the type of configuration, there's all kinds of configurations, and if you want a certain one or something, you got to go to different stores, and you might even have to special order it and stuff. And I was dead set on wanting a white porcelain cast iron sink because, you know, we've got a stainless steel sink at home, and it's like when you have stainless steel, you got to be careful with it, because if you don't use the right cleaners on it, or if you use the wrong scouring pads or something, you could scratch the surface of the stainless steel, and then it's hard to get rid of the scratch. And then every time you look in the sink, there's that cockamamie scratch again. But I'm kind of resolved to the fact, because I'm having a hard time locating an under-counter cast iron sink with a configuration how I want, I think I'm going to go with the stainless steel. And I talked to Momi about it, and she's okay with that. And we know how to keep it nice and clean. And besides, with white quartz countertops, if you could picture this, white quartz countertops, it's going to have some little frilly lines in it and stuff, but the overall business of it is going to be white. And we're going to have stainless steel looking types of appliances, not real stainless steel, but it's going to look like stainless steel. This is not it, but it's going to look like stainless steel, and it's easier to wipe off, and it keeps fingerprints off of there like stainless steel. You know, if you get that, anytime you touch it with your hands, your fingerprints get on there. It's hard to clean off, and you clean it with certain cleaners, and then you look at it, and son of a gun, there's the fingerprints again, always. And so we're going to get something, I'll show you when we get them, when we get everything installed. It'll be on here, don't worry. But anyways, I thought, you know, if all our countertops are quartz, white quartz, and if we have a backsplash that is white, the same quartz, we're going to run up the wall like how the old countertop goes up, 6 inches or so. With the white sink, it might look too samey. And with everything stainless steel like, why not have a stainless steel sink and kind of break it up and give the countertop a little bit of color? And I'm not sure what we're going to do with the faucet color yet. This is the old one. Obviously we're going to be getting rid of that. But anyways, hey, it's in progress. And see, today, could I cut this in? Could I cut it all in and spend, 2 or 3 hours in here cutting that in? Yeah, I could, but you remember, 2 days from now, the carpet's coming. And so I need to focus and make sure that I get everything upstairs taken care of, the different colors that I have to get into, the paint brushes, the different paint trays I got to get, and the shelving and stuff, the semi-gloss upstairs. So I'm gonna really focus now on making sure all the nitpicky little things that I talked about, that I showed you, I'm gonna get those taken care of today. That's my goal, is to get all that stuff taken care of and get myself out of the second floor where the carpet's gonna go. And then I probably won't have any time to do any cut-in downstairs, but see, I can work on cut-in tomorrow. I can work on painting door frames tomorrow. The baseboard still has to be painted, but that's not going to affect the carpet guys, is it? The carpet guys are going to be up here working. Well, they're even here in a couple days. I can be down here painting while they're upstairs, right? So you need to kind of look at your different projects and see, you know, is there a right and wrong time to do certain things? Yeah, of course there is. And is it in a perfect world? I wouldn't be working over a floor, would I? A finished floor. In a perfect world, I would have had all this painting done before the flooring guys got here at all, and before the carpet guys even got here for installing their carpet tack strip and their carpet pad and all that kind of stuff. But we don't live in a perfect world, do we? I mean, I was trying my best to get everything 100% done painting-wise before the flooring guy got here, before the carpet guys got here. It just didn't work out. Sometimes you try, whatever you do, you just can't do it. So you've got to work with the schedule that you have given yourself and work with it. And hopefully along the way, I've showed you different things of my progress, certain tips and techniques on how I've done things, certain things that you can learn from, the mistakes that I've made along the way, but how I fixed them, and how you might think, oh yeah, I'm not going to do it that way, I'm going to do it this other way, or oh, that's a really good way that he just told me, I'm going to have to try that next time. And you know, we could have had a painter, a professional painting crew come in here with 3 or 4 guys and blow this out in a week and a half or so, but then we'd be out $10,000 too, probably, or more. You saw how high the ceilings were up in the other rooms and stuff upstairs. And so, hey, sweat equity it's called. The paint didn't really cost that much. So far, we're into it little less than $1,000. And, you know, for the painting materials and stuff. Probably a little bit less than that even. Maybe $750. And so, for a $9,000 savings, if you have the time and the energy and the know-how and the wherewithal, you can do this kind of stuff. You see me, if you watch my videos, you can see that, hey, this guy isn't anything special. You know, I'm not a professional painter, but I can get it done. And when I get it done, it looks like a professional has done it. But hey, I'm not a professional, and you're not a professional either, and most of all this stuff you can do on your own. You don't need to pay somebody else to do it. If you've got the time on your hands and you want to try your hand at it, you're going to learn along the way, and hopefully you've learned quite a few things watching my videos to know that, hey, if Joe, an average Joe, can do it, then you can do it too. Well, I guess it's time to get busy. Oh, that's funny. Remember I said I needed some white ceiling flat paint? I wasn't quite sure what it was for. It's for those marks, remember? Up there. Those lines on the ceiling from my little paint roller cover, or my paint roller frame. And I don't have to do that today, mind you. I can do that some other time, so I guess I don't have to worry about that today. But what you probably should do after a while is get a notepad, and I've worked off of clipboards forever. And you just start making yourself a list of things to do, things that you still need to do today, or things that need to be cut in, or certain things, or like I say, you can take some blue masking tape. You just pop a little piece of masking tape up there, and that will be your reminder. You know what I mean? Okay, I just thought that was funny. I had to give myself a little chuckle. My mind is swirling of all the different little things I need to do today with the paint. All right, I'm out for now. Thanks for joining me.